Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Lozzy and I'm back. Depending on which order I decide to put the videos, this will probably be the first one back since my last video over a month ago. I filmed a couple of videos for you. I'm diving straight back into the content and you're getting a Q&A. Yeah, nothing says diving right back into the content than producing a Q&A. Now once in a while I decide to do a Q&A, you know, I put it on Instagram or Twitter, get your questions into me and I'll put them in the video and I'll answer them as honestly as I can. And I don't shy away for any questions, okay, so you can ask me whatever you want. There are some questions that aren't really questions, they're just straight up abuse, but I'll put it in the video. Alright, let's stop explaining what a fucking Q&A is and just get straight into it, shall we? Okay, so the first question today comes from Casey Evans 0319. These usernames are, well, pretty fucking good. And he asks, opinions on the swimmers and Lydia allegations. I must admit, don't know a fucking thing about it. So I'm going to have to do my research. It's quality. The first question you post to me, I'm going to have to do fucking research on. Right, bear with. Oh yeah, by the way, I've got a new gaming chair. It's a bit geeky because I like Fallout, but if you don't like Fallout, you can fuck off. Right, swimmers and Lydia allegations. Right, okay. I've read about 2 minutes of worth of literature on it, if you can call it literature. I don't know. I mean, if what is being accused did happen, then it's pretty fucked and needs to be sorted. But at the same time, you gotta realise that people make false accusations as well. So let's just leave it at that. My legal team are squirming right now, and when I say my legal team, there's part of my brain that deals with legal matters and has no knowledge of legal matters, so I don't know what the fuck I'm even talking about. Anyway, thanks for that potential banana skin of a question, Casey. Next question comes from Finn Jones 05, one of the finest Warzone players you'll find in Verdansk, and he says he's going to go for the classic, how's life been? Your shagger. It's been better recently. I mean, if you watch my previous video to this one, you'll understand where my kind of mindset was and mentally where I was for several months of this year, basically the first half of this year. But like I said in the end of that video, I feel like I'm turning a corner. I'm in a much better place than I was mentally a month or two ago, and I'm starting to look forward to things, which is, you know, what should happen. You should look forward to things in life. But thanks for your question, Finn, appreciate it, and I need to play Warzone with you again because I haven't won a game in a while and it's starting to fucking grind on me. Next question is from Alex_Gaston. I may have pronounced that incorrectly, I apologise. And they ask, do you like Greek people? I haven't really got any reason to dislike Greek people, so I guess I like them. I mean, I tend to stay away from Greek restaurants mainly because I don't understand the plate smashing shit, but that's just me. You know, I don't celebrate by smashing good plates. Well, they probably use their worst plates, to be honest. If you go to a restaurant, they're smashing plates every night. They're probably using the ones that are probably on the way out. Do you know what I mean? But it's a culture thing, so I've got nothing against Greek people. I just don't like the plate smashing. I feel like I haven't given you enough reason as to justify why I don't like the plate smashing, and it is purely just from my mind telling me that, you know, people are now going to think I don't like Greek people on the basis that they smash plates, which is not the case. It depends, okay? There may be an acceptable time that I might find the plate smashing pretty cool. 1, if I'm absolutely fucking smashed myself. 2, if I've finished my meal and it's going to annoy other people, that's a good one. And 3, if, you know, there's a fight kicking off and I just want to get involved. Anyway, thanks for your question. This next question comes from a regular on the Q&As. It's Brooke X Nielsen, a great supporter of the channel as well, always appreciative of the support. And she asks, any future content you're looking forward to making? Quite a bit, to be fair, both on this channel, but more recently getting more excited as we start to ramp up production on the Allegedly Possibly Maybe podcast, which is going to be sick. By the time this goes out, we're probably already recording which would be great. All the equipment's there, the studio's ready, and we're raring to go. I've always enjoyed listening to podcasts. Being on the Happy Hour podcast for 2 episodes was a brilliant experience and only drove me more to want to do my own podcast or to be involved with a podcast. So having a podcast with my best mate is pretty much Cloud9 shit, really. In terms of content away from the podcast, I'm excited to be making all the exploration videos we're going to be doing for Duty Rhino. Obviously we always like doing those videos, we always have fun making them, and to be honest, they're probably some of the best videos and content that I've been involved with so far. In terms of videos I'm excited about making for my channel, there is one that I've filmed that I'm yet to edit. It's quite a big video and it should have been probably released about a month or 2 months ago. You'll see why that wasn't released a couple of months ago, as it should have been, but I'm excited nonetheless, and I've tried to make it as entertaining and funny as I can. Thank you for your question, I appreciate it as always. Next question is from _MXDN. He asked 2 questions, which is fine, I ain't got a rule against it. First question is, how are you? I'm good, thanks mate, I appreciate you asking that. I'm a lot better than I was maybe a month and a half, 2 months ago. So yeah, I'm on the road to a better place. And the second question he asks is, what's my favourite album of this year so far? It's difficult because, I've got to be honest, I haven't really listened to a lot of new music this year, and it's very rare that that really happens, but it's been a really fucking weird year. Just purely because I haven't really listened to much new music, like I was saying, it's probably going to be Glue by Boston Manor. I don't think it's as good as their previous album, Welcome to the Neighbourhood, but it's still got a few bangers on there, and I've listened to that quite a lot this year. Thanks for your question. This next question is from Silence. I may have pronounced that wrong, I do apologise. It's spelt Cilense, so any linguists out there, sort that one out. Anyway, they asked, why did you backstab Jordan and join forces with the Mothman? Good question. I thought it would just be fun. You know, I like to stir the pot sometimes, like to cause a bit of a ruckus. I just thought it might spice it up a bit, really. You know, a bit of paprika, a bit of grounded pepper, a bit of cayenne pepper, you know, ghost chilli too. I thought it would add layers to the story, you know, a friend that then backstabs Jordan in favour of the Mothman, because the Mothman has such a way with words and has this special ability to convince die-hard fans and friends of Jordan to then turn against him. That's what I thought in my mind was, you know, a good story trope, I guess. Some enemies become friends and some friends become enemies. He got a fucking comic book strip shirt out of it, so there you go. Thanks for that question. I see what you've done here for this next question, because you've used a different account to ask another question, which I appreciate it, because it looks like more people are actually interacting with my Q&A than there actually is. Anyway, Andy X Cantwell asks, what's the most unexpected thing to happen this year in your opinion? There's probably one big one, or let's put it this way, there's one bad thing and one good thing. The bad thing, I think all of us know, is probably coronavirus. I mean, normally I'm going into a year expecting there to be some shit times and some good times, but this, oh my fucking god, straight out the bat, was a shit time, and it was chronic. But yeah, coronavirus is very much the thing I didn't expect to happen this year, but it did, and we are where we are. And then the good thing that's happened this year, or the good thing that is happening this year, is the podcast. I didn't expect that to take off as quickly as it did, but that was the good thing this year, and I'm really looking forward to that getting started. Thanks for your question. Now this next question comes from Louis Pearson 34, and he asked 2 questions. The first one is, how have the last couple of months been? They've been okay. They've kind of been transitioning through like a weird mental state recently. I'm in a much better place now. I'm content with where I am, and I'm excited for the future, which is a positive place to be. And the second question he asks is, how scary was the forest with Jordan? That was, to be fair, there were parts where it was eerie or a little bit spooky, but I can never say definitively that I shat my pants at any point. If you haven't watched it, spoilers. The knife at the end in the tree was weird. And it was weird. Of all the places we could have been for that Ouija board to then turn around, there's a fucking knife in the tree. That is a bit weird. Admittedly, looking back on it, the knife had rust on it and it had obviously been there for some time. So it is just pure luck that we placed our Ouija board and our equipment and all that shit that we had carrying around next to a tree with a fucking knife in it. But there we go, that's just how it is. The other two guys, Bailey and Jordan, did hear voices. I can't say that I heard a voice. I heard footsteps or something moving across from us when we were doing the Ouija board as we were setting it up before we filmed. There was some sort of weird noise as we were walking back to the car or towards the car. It was some sort of weird moaning, whistling noise, but I put that down to the wind because it did start to pick up. So yeah, there was a couple of bits where, you know, you had to do double takes and you had to think about rationally what things were. But overall, I'd say it wasn't as scary as it was built up to be, but that's pretty much the story of every single haunted location that I've ever been in, which is about 3. But anyway, thanks for your question. This next question is from Ruby_Sand_1406. What a fucking username that is. And they ask, what's your top favourite bands? But I'd say my favourite bands that I'm listening to at the moment, if you nailed it down, would be Don Broco, Boston Manor, The Story So Far, and I've listened to quite a bit of Linkin Park recently. Thanks for your question. This next question is from someone who I'm gonna have to spell out because I don't know how you actually say the username. But I'll put your username like I do everyone else's in the corner of the screen. BIGSTEDIDZ10. Is that Big Steadies or Big Steadies 10? I don't know. But anyway, we're here for the questions, not the usernames. And they ask, how have you been since we last saw you? Improved massively. Like I said in previous questions, how I was 2 months ago to how I am now is almost night and day. Normal levels of worry, anxiety, stress that everyone has in everyday life, I'm getting towards, which is good because how I was before was not a good place to be in. And thank you very much for your question. This next question is from Donna, and she asks, when did you first learn to play an instrument and what instrument was it? I can't even remember the year I started, but my first instrument was drums. That was the first instrument I started playing. It was definitely at high school. I want to say 2009, 2010, because those are the last 2 years of high school. So yeah, that was when I first started to learn drums. And then in 2013 was when I started to learn guitar. And I played them together for a while, for a few years, and then I just decided that I liked guitar more. It was just more accessible for me. It wasn't as noisy, didn't get as many complaints from the neighbours, and yeah, that's where we are now. I haven't played drums for about I haven't played drums properly for well over 2 years, probably 3 years. So it would be exciting to see how rusty I am. I think I can still play like simple shit and then work myself back up to intermediate stuff. Let me know down in the comments if you want to see me do like a kind of vlog thing where I go to a local studio and see how good I am at drums still, which would probably be entertaining to see because I'll probably be dog shit. Thank you for your question. This next question comes from Ollie.lc, and he asks, is steak overrated? He thinks it is. I probably agree with you to a certain extent, because there are people that are die-hard fans of steak and say, no, you haven't had the right steak, you haven't had the right cut, you haven't been somewhere where they're renowned for steaks, and you'd have to try that before you completely ruled it out. And I tend to agree. I haven't been anywhere where it is literally specialises in steak, but at the same time, do I want to pay over 30 quid for a hunk of meat? Or could I get something for half as much that I know I'm definitely going to like a burger or pulled pork or rack of ribs or whatever? So yeah, it probably is overrated. Thanks for your question. This next question, you will have to excuse my pronunciation. I'm going to take a stab at the name, okay? It's from Blaze McDonagh. Fucked it. I know I did. Anyway, they asked my favourite bands at the moment. Bands that I've been listening to, like I said in a previous question, that'll be Don Broco, Boston Manor, Linkin Park, and The Story So Far. They're the bands I've been listening to most recently. Thanks for your question. This next question is from Ethan_Catmull, and he asks, what's your opinion on our pedo chats with Ben Ixer on his streams? If I'm honest, Ben kind of brings it on himself. We all love Ben, you know, he's entertaining. Some of the insults that he come out with are just completely ridiculous, but also 99% of the time they're pretty hilarious as well. But for some reason, when Ben streams and I join, the first thing he talks about, or within the first couple of minutes, he talks about pedos, and I don't know why. I don't know what it is in his mind that makes him suddenly talk about pedos when I appear. And we'll leave it at that, I guess. This next one is pretty simple. It's from Maggie Pelling, and she asks, what's the time? I'll tell you exactly what the time is. I'll try and do it to the second actually as well. It is 11:59 and 58 seconds, so we're about to hit 12 o'clock. Thanks for that. This next question is from Sunny.eo3, and he asks, is Sunny the best Warzone player in the world? I don't know if you're the best in the world. You're not fucking, I'm not saying you're bad, because you're fucking quality, mate. You're probably the most aggressive Warzone player I've ever seen. Easily. This guy would run at full squads of quads on his own. He doesn't give a fuck. Doesn't care what weapons they've got, whether they've got loadouts, what support he's got around him, or whereabouts he is on the map. Don't fucking care. He sees a squad, he's going after the cunts. Most of the time you get the job done, and I appreciate that. But fuck me, you are the most aggressive player I've ever seen on Warzone. Keep it up though. Now, this next question, I'm not really here to criticise your questions, but this one is pretty shit. It's asked by someone called Jake_C00K, so Jake_Cook, but spelt with zeros. I like it. And the question that is provided is why. Not even a fucking question mark after that, may I just fucking add. You've just literally typed why. W-H-Y. At least you spelt it fucking correctly. Why what? I don't even fucking know. Should we skip over that one? Probably. Let's get rid of it. But thanks anyway, I appreciate the interaction. This next question is from Patrick_Connelly5, and he asks, are you going to start making content regularly? My original aim with this channel was to do one video a week. I'll try and stick to that as much as I can, but one every week and a half to 2 weeks is probably more realistic. But yeah, I'd aim to get a video up at least once every 2 weeks. So yeah, thanks for your question. This next question is asked by Coley.jc. I may have pronounced that wrong, but at this point we're so deep into the video, don't give a fuck. This one's a bit of a spicy question, but I've got a great answer for it, because I'm not gonna lie, I did preempt this question because it was one of the ones where it could make me look a bit suspicious, bit stuff on the old hard drive-ish kind of question, this one. If you had to shag 2 people with the combined age of 30, what ages are you choosing? First one, 25-year-old. No issues there. No law enforcement need to get involved. And obviously to make it up to the combined age of 30, a 5-year-old. But before you start picking up that phone, dialing 999, calling me a pedo, her birthday is on a leap year. So technically, she's 20 years old. Oh, okay, I can see that in post I've made a bit of a fucking mistake. What I meant to say was her birthday is on the 29th of February on a leap year, so then that would make her 20 years old, which is legal. And the only way I really could think about answering this question without sounding like a paedophile or a nonce. Back to the video. This next question is asked by the infamous GBailey_3, and he asks, would you let a grey alien probe you for 1 million subs? Gonna be honest with you, I'll probably do it for another 100 subs, let alone a mil. If you see any, let me know, send them my way if possible, you know. And if they agree to it, to give me the 1 mil subs, I'll take it like a trooper right up the chutney. Thanks for your question, Bailey. Now this next question comes from Jasper.whitex, and he asks, what are your thoughts on Reading having 2 main stages and 6 headliners for the next festival? I don't know really how I feel about that one, to be honest. I mean, on the one hand it gives them scope to put more acts on and please more people with the headliners, which is great, because the last thing you really want is a headliner that's kind of like not what you're feeling. Through my experience of going to Reading Festival, when there's been a headliner on that I'm not particularly interested in, like I said before, there's always a band or an act that I'd want to go and see, normally in the pit or the Radio 1 stage. So overall I guess it probably is a good thing because you get more headliners, but at the same time you might get more headliners that you don't want to go and see, especially if you're like a rock fan where the core audience used to be for this festival, but we'll have to see. Thanks for your question, Jasper. Right, this next question is from Doody Rhino himself, and he asks, how did the shingle taste when I yeeted it out of the car door onto the Queen's Head car park? For a bit of context, because you probably need some here, the Queen's Head is a pub opposite where I used to live. I was in the back seat of the car. It was a 3-door car, so whoever's in the front seat or the passenger seat had to get out to let me out. Basically Jordan took the front seat because he's a fucking knobhead. He was getting out last, but yet I had to go in the back. And this is where my demise started. So it's Jordan, me in the back, and the driver is a lovely guy called Daryl. Nothing against Daryl, I'm blaming this pretty much on Jordan and the lack of my hand-eye coordination, but more Jordan. So Daryl nicely drives me home, pulls into the car park opposite my house at the Queen's Head, the pub, stops the car, Jordan gets out to let me out of the back, and then the seatbelt on the car caught my left leg as my right leg was already out of the car. So then my only option basically is for my right knee to absolutely slam against the pavement. And it wasn't shingle, alright, it wasn't loose stones, because that would have been less painful, because then the energy would have dispersed throughout the loose stones. It was your bog standard, cheap, nasty cunt of a car park. So my knee absolutely smashes against the floor. So at the deck, I'm basically grimacing, like I'm grinding my teeth through the pain. My patella is absolutely shattered to pieces, and then fucking two laugh. Do you know what I mean? Because it is funny, I guess. But I guess if you want to know how the shingles taste, bitter, right? Fucking bitter, because all that could have been avoided if I just sat in the front. His next question's from Real Thing Shady, and he asks, did Kanye West's recent bipolar episode affect the stance you had in your video on him? I guess it probably does for certain parts of the video. I still don't know whether you can attribute all of the things that I raised in that video being down to bipolar, but then at the same time you probably could, because who can argue against it? I can't sit here and clinically say with evidence that he acts like he does because he hasn't got bipolar, because he's just a fucking idiot. But at the same time, I can't then also say that he acts like he does definitively because he has bipolar. The truth is probably somewhere in the middle. I've got nothing against the man or his family. I'm not calling for him to be lynched. And if there's any inference of whether I'd take it down because of what I said, I don't believe there's anything in that video I said that was completely out of line. There's a couple of people that come on the video saying, how can I take the piss out of him when I look a certain way? I never took the piss out of the way he looks. I took the piss out of what he was saying. The only thing I guess that's left to say about it is, if he does have the bipolar condition or bipolar episodes, then I hope he gets the support he needs from his family, his friends. I hope he gets the treatment he needs, and I hope he can, learn to live with it, because we all need help with mental health. I've needed help with mental health. And if he has bipolar, he's gonna need support. He's gonna need medication, most likely, I'd imagine. And I hope he gets everything that he needs. I really appreciate the question, and I hope you feel I answered it as honestly as I possibly could. This next question is from Esme Yee, What a fucking shite name that is. And she asks, "You're a cunt. Would you agree?" Probably. Moving on. Thanks for that wonderful question. Next question comes from someone called IG.Jamp, and they ask, "What's your favourite thing about YouTube in general?" I think the thing that I really enjoy about YouTube most is that there's no, for the most creators on the platform, there's no big studio or production crew behind it. It's literally you make your own content and put it out to the world, which is what YouTube was built on. Yes, you see a lot of people like the daily shows and the Tonight shows in America, where they post the clips from the shows that they have and they do little bits, and they're all backed by studios and all these companies. But I feel like at its core it's still like a single creator or a small group of people creating something to put out to the world without having any interference with anyone else, like producers or writers and that shit, which is what I really enjoy about YouTube. You make your own stuff, you post it, people like it, and that's it. Or people dislike it and call you a cunt online. Thanks for your question. Next question is a bit depressing. It's from bxn.jxgo, and they ask, "Why must the human race be punished like this?" I don't know. I'm not God. I don't know if there is a God. Probably not. So it's probably just a natural occurrence, and we were fucking the planet up anyway, so Mother Nature wants to take one swipe at us, like, give us a backhand around the fucking face, and that she's probably entitled to. Next question is from Firewood and Brimstone. Just before we go any further, if you want any personalised wood burning arts and crafts stuff like boxes, jewellery boxes, wooden decorative pieces, look no further. If you want any examples of the work that she does, just look her up on Instagram, and she's got loads of pictures of the products that she has. Just a quick shout out to my other half, she's put a lot of work into it and she's enjoying it, and it's nice to see someone, you know, creatively enjoying something they do, and maybe one day she can start to build up sales and make a business out of it. So yeah, if you are interested in any of that, go and support her. But anyway, I've got a question to ask. This better be a good question now. I've bigged you up and, you know, I've given you some airtime. And this is the question: what do you want for tea? I'm disappointed with the question, to be honest. Pick some out of the freezer, slap it in the oven, shove it down my throat. And the last question we have today is from someone called Quirk. Now, I may have misinterpreted what your name is actually there, because it's QU1RKE, Quirk. Does that make sense? And they ask, do you have a goal in mind for the next 5 years or so? The goal I have in 5 years, I hope to be doing this full time, or to be doing something in this sort of realm full time. That would be my goal, is that my job would be doing this with the podcast. I also want to start streaming as well, because I'm really starting to get back into video games. So I want to start streaming them. I'm a big fan of story-driven games and open-world games, RPGs. So I'd like to stream them, as well as I like playing in between games like COD and games like Fall Guys and that sort of thing. That's pretty cool. I would like to stream that. But that's something I expect to happen within the next few weeks, like the near future or next few months. Whilst I get things sorted out here, I need to sort out a better internet, I need to sort out a better PC, because I want to start gaming on PC as well as console, because I think having a PC just broadens your horizons in terms of what you can play and what you can do. Yeah, to sum up, I hope I could do more of this stuff and make it my kind of full-time career. The podcast, I hope, will go from strength to strength, and we'll make that as big as we can. And yeah, I hope to be financially stable upon this sort of work in the next 5 years. And that's the end of the questions. I really appreciate everyone who's asked their questions. I'll always do my best to answer your questions. If I've missed anyone, I do apologise. But if you get your questions in still, I guarantee you'll be in one of my videos. So that's it for this Q&A. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope I answered all your questions sufficiently. There's a couple in there that are a bit drab, I'm going to be honest. But for the most part, everyone asks really good questions. I appreciate everyone asking me how I was considering my mental state in the last video. And yeah, I just hope you're all really well, getting through this weird fucking time that we're calling 2020. And I guess I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye for now.